There we go. Aloha and welcome everyone to this live Healing Moments program. And the Healing Moments program is creating a safe space to discuss a spiritual perspective on what's going on in the world. Together, we're finding the answers to life's big questions and tuning into our hearts and moving into the new dimensional energies. And how nice to be able to do that collectively in love, isn't it? So these days we're spending a lot of time on our own, especially if you're in areas where you don't feel comfortable going out or being in groups. So it's a nice time to gather virtually online. And I'm grateful for everybody for you being here. I'm webcasting from my office here in Kailua, Hawaii. And I'm so very grateful to, I'm gonna mute everybody. And what you can do is, let's see, did I mute everybody? Yeah, just, then you can just raise your hand or raise your hand, or you can put your question in the chat and ask your questions anytime. It doesn't matter to me. We have a few things that we want to talk about. And first of all, I want to start with a prayer and some deep breathing. Now, I do this thing called the 5 breath self-healing meditation. And that's something I learned from my mentor, Kahu Fred Sterling. But today, excuse me, we're going to do just 5 deep breaths. And we'll say a prayer and we'll get into the program. You can learn more about the 5 breath self-healing meditation and where each of the 25 breaths go when you're doing it. I do it 2 to 3 times a day because it's so helpful when you're feeling stressed or you're feeling like you need a break or something to lead you into your meditation. You can find out more about it on the Signature Cell Healing website. And I'm going to talk more about that in a minute because we have a brand new Signature Cell Healing website and it's in the store. There's an ebook and there's a video and there's even a short little 1-hour workshop that will show you how to do that. So I would just invite you to sit comfortably now for a moment and take some deep breaths. Let's take 5 deep breaths. And you breathe it in through your crown. Bring it through the pineal gland, lock it in your heart, and then exhale out your mouth. So breathe in again, golden particles above your crown chakra, imagine that, and then bring it down into your heart, lock it there, weave all 4 bodies together, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Exhale. Just breathe. And I call upon the Creator's light, the Christ light, the Goddess weave of love, and all of the higher selves of those joining us today live and those who will come in later on the recording. And we pray that the energy of love surround this gathering and that we open our hearts to the energies of love that allow us to feel our journey moving forward. We're dedicated this particular month on completions and new beginnings in love and how we access that and move forward in love into the month of creation in October. But first we're going through the month of completions and new beginnings, and we feel the energy of the Creator light, the angels, the guides, the goddess lights, all of the guardian energies that support us in our healing journey on earth. We offer this prayer in humble love and gratitude. And so it is in love. Amen. So thank you for joining me. Little throat lozenge there. So here we are, yes, indeed, in the month of completions and new beginnings, the 9 month. And I look forward to this month every year because it feels like, to me, what it feels like is it's an opportunity for me to let go of things that are complete, that feel like they need letting go. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, about how we know that. And it can be a little bit of a scary place, because you think, well, if I let that go, maybe nothing's going to come in its place. I would think about a relationship. Let's take some examples. If you have a relationship that you've been in, and it could be, it could be a romantic relationship. It doesn't have to be. Could be a friendship or anything. I said goodbye to my mother in the 9 months when she transitioned. When we started the 9 month, I really wondered, would she make it through the 9 months? Because she was in a nursing facility and kind of going downhill. And sure enough, in the last days of the 9 months, she departed. And she was I'm sure she was so happy to do that, because it wasn't the easiest journey, but she did try to hang on, which we all do. We all do, because we're not sure what comes after. But the 9 says, and I'll just read from the Lemurian Numerology. This is the Lemurian Numerology that we have from my mentors, Fred Sterling and Master Guide Kirill. And you can find a write-up of the Lemurian Numerology on my website, KarinnaNielsen.com, and you'll find it in the Lemurian Wisdom blog. And the 9 is about completions and new beginnings. When the number 9 appears, you can say, I am complete and I'm ready to begin. Completion is the energy of closing one aspect of the journey and moving on to a new beginning. Make sure that you are in completion mode at this point and not holding on to anything you may have already moved beyond. So that's the key. We are already in completion mode for so many things, but we, out of hesitancy or fear, let's just put the word out there, fear to move on because we don't know what's coming, that we hold on to that completion when it is already done. And so what about that fear that of what's coming? And the important thing to know is everything in your life is perfect. And I tell myself that a lot because I struggle with that. What? This is perfect. It must be perfect. Because why? Because it is. This is the way it is. So I either thought it into creation, I planned it out, or, this is meant to move me through something I need to learn or experience in my journey on Earth. So I need to kind of step back, have a look at it, and understand that there might be something there that's complete, and what's coming next is perfect. And we don't need to be afraid of it. And that, of course, that's easy to say because it's the human condition to move from fear to love. And that's what we're doing in our journey through the third dimension. It's the journey from fear to love. And this is something that Fred has talked about, and now I talk about also in the signature cell healing workshops, is the journey from fear to love is the third dimensional journey. But where we are now, we're moving into the energy of love, moving from love to enlightenment. And that will get us into the next dimensions on Earth. Isn't that exciting? So if we can get more and more into that loving space for ourselves first, and then for others and for our situation, I got a thumbs up from Wendy, yay. Then we can move into the new dimensional energies. And so that was part of what I said in my newsletter. Is there a new reality taking place on Earth, or forming or coming into being on Earth? And the answer is yes. And what's really interesting, and we'll talk more about this later, but my guidance, Pele-kino, aha-nei, who is the guardian goddess and creator energy of Lemuria, also says it's time for us to, I'm just gonna leave you there. It's time for us to understand that we are moving through this new dimensional energy, and there are going to be beings on earth that will try and hold on to the third dimensional fear to love journey. And some will just be plain in fear, right? But if we can move from fear to love and love to enlightenment, we'll see that new reality taking place on earth, and you're going to create it all around you. So the more that you want to immerse yourself into what's the fear of the third dimension, that's okay. You can do that. I do it too. I turn on the news. I know what's going on. But I have to turn it off, and I have to go meditate, and I have to do other things. I cannot be immersed in that continually. I have to understand that there really are, it is really like two realities existing on this planet. It won't be for long. At some point, there will be this great shift in consciousness. And there's the book right back there, the blue book there in the corner. The great shift in consciousness, as Master Guide Kirill has been telling us for about 30 years, that there will be a shift, a dimensional shift on this planet, and we're in the middle of it right now. And that dimensional shift is an embodied shift of many times the Creator has just, taken all life off of the planet and repopulated. But this time we are so fortunate, believe it or not, we are fortunate to be the ones chosen to go through an embodied great shift. And so what is a great shift? What does that mean? It's what we're feeling now when we raise our awareness of love. So a love awareness starts with self-love first, of course. And so when you can see the love in other people, in yourself, in what's happening all around us, that's a great shift, because you're raising your frequency of love within you, and you're going to attract it from all around you. So that's kind of my preamble into the program. So Wendy says, so from fear to love to enlightenment. That's right. From fear to love, and from love to enlightenment. So we're going to get to love, and that's going to open the path for us to get to enlightenment. So first, I mean, chime in with me here, in the chat or whatever, but can everybody relate to that? The fear to love? I'm going through that a lot of times. And when we're feeling fear, you're going to attract more of it to you, of course. So, when if I get excited or I get scared, like let's take this new website, for example, the new Signature Cell Healing. The team has been working on this website for over a month, maybe six weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. And what's happening is the new website is there. They call it a soft launch. That means I didn't tell anybody about it yet, but I'm telling you that it's there so we can work out all the kinks or whatever tweaks need to happen. And the old site is still there on the server somewhere in internet land. And when we say that, okay, this is good, we release the old site and it's gone. And boy, that's really hits me right here. I'm a real internet geek. And I happened to go through this once before, excuse me, earlier this year with my own website. I got a new website, and I worked with someone to create that new website. And I didn't realize that when she was done, she was going to just shift it, and the old site is just completely gone. And afterwards, it was just like, oh my God, did I get everything? Have I got everything? Is everything moved over? What? I just had to let go. So at that point, that's a completion and a new beginning. You don't get a choice in that because you can't bring it back, right? So right now I'm in this energy with the Signature Cell Healing website, where I have this month where I can look at the completion and say, yes, we're complete, let it go, and we move on. So anyway, here's someone who said, who's this comment? Wendy says, I've been fasting from the news for about 6 weeks. Wow, good for you. Good for you. I'm a compulsive news checker. Good for you, Wendy. And I think that allows you, and tell me if I'm right about this, it allows you to choose where you want to be, right? Because if you're following whatever news outlet or listening to other people even, it doesn't have to be a news outlet on TV or anything like that. You're gonna, I got the thumbs up, so I must be right. You're on their line of thought, right? So wherever you go, wherever you're getting your information from, you're following a line of thought that is not actually your own. And so you need to be a little bit discerning about, what's the fear in that, and is that, right for me, and that. But if you do like Wendy and go into meditation and get your own feeling about what's going on, and allow yourself to have positive input and loving input, and kind of weave that with what you know. Because when you, like Master Carol says, when you know, and I want to say something about when you know, because that can be a deep spiritual knowing, but it can also be a very fearful knowing, can't it? Because when you know, and you can't be, moved from that, or you might be moved from that. But Wendy, do you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, Karinna, that's so wonderful, everything you're saying. And, I think we just have a choice every day of what we want to listen to. It's one thing to listen to facts, but unfortunately now in America, the news is all about opinions. So they'll give you 1 minute of a fact and then 15 minutes of 4 people giving you their opinions. So maybe we should choose who we're going to listen to for the opinions. So that was why I decided to fast from the news. And you just hear from people what is going on. But I feel like this time in life, I need to listen to my inner self and my higher self more than anything. So what you're saying really resonates for me.
Oh, thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you. That is so true. And I really feel that when you do that, what Wendy's sharing is when you do that, you can then choose to augment, what you want with, a book, a positive book, a funny book, something that's not fearful or negative. Because for me, the positive and love and moving forward, not looking back, moving forward is so important right now. And that can really help when we're feeling depressed or lonely or anything like that, to get out of the same thing that's grinding around and around. This morning in meditation, I put this on the event page on Facebook, is something that Pele-kino, aha-nei shared with me. Love is what allows you to let go and not look back. Self-love, to complete and begin anew. It's all about love. So what we need to focus on is love, and every interaction that we have, every situation we're in, anything that comes into our mind, it's an opportunity for us to be in love. And it can be, I have such a busy mind that I meditate a lot. I have to, I really have to, because I have this, I'll be honest with you. I discovered in my own blueprint, when I do my own, I read myself, I do my own astrology, right? Or, just in meditation, I understand what my journey is. And part of my journey is bringing a lot of information in to the world from different sources. That's just what I'm here to do. And when I do that, I can get lost in the information, and my mind can just start to tick here, 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 here. And sometimes I just stop myself and I back myself up steps. How did I get to this point? Because I don't really want to be here. what was I thinking about? And then I back myself up. But what you really can do is just push it away and focus in on your heart, or focus in on love, because I can really, I mean, my mind can really get going. So that's why I'm such an avid meditator. And, you know, for you, if you're not doing that yet, I mean, Pele-kino, aha-nei has said it's not negotiable, or and everybody needs to meditate, because this is how we get into the new reality, right? If we stay immersed in our third dimensional world, and we have to do that journey. I'm not saying anything about that. We have to have our relationships. We have to have our, you know, our situations that we're going through in life. That's part of our blueprint. That's part of why we came here. But we do need to meditate and raise our frequency of love and get above the fray. I think there was a question in the article from the channeling from Pele-kino, aha-nei this month that said, how do I get above the fray? And there was a beautiful little meditation that came along. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Whoa, that came out of nowhere. Thank you. Yeah, so I want to talk about the 9 today. So let's quickly get back to the numerology. Now, the Lumoran Numerology is awesome. You can use it for anything. You can use it for your birth date. I'm in a 1 year now from my birth. At 6-4 is a together. So you add the numbers together. So take your age, add it together, and you get one number, one digit. And that's how you use the Lemurian numerology with anything. You can do it with your street address, with the date that it is, with your birth date to find your life path number. So I'm in a 1 year, and I'm doing a lot of this creation mode. That's because last year I had a 9 year, and here I am in the 1. But the 1 always follows the 9. This is for Sandra when she wants to get to the 1, but we have to go through the 9 first. So the 9, look for the 9s this month. There's a 9-9 coming up. There's a 9. Oh, and actually the date today, if you include the year, is a 9. So it's a beautiful day of completions and new beginnings. There's a 9-18 and a 9-27. September 27th is another. In fact, that's the day that my mother passed away, was the 9/27. That was amazing. So remember, when you see that, when you see a 9 come up for you, oh, your mother passed on 9/9. Wow, that's incredible. See, for me, that's a conscious departure. When something like that happens, is a conscious departure. And look at the big events that happen in your life. On my website, there's a story of this near-death experience that I had. And that was on a 7 day. And so that was a day that I received a really huge walk-in of the new energy from my higher self. And that totaled my car. I was in a complete total car accident, and survived it without injury. But that was on a 7 day, and that's the number for transition. So pay attention to the big events in your life and what day it is. And usually what we do is add all the numbers together to get the energy of the day. So the month, the day, and the year, especially with your life path number. So this month is all about completions and new beginnings. And the questions I asked as we're getting into this, oh, I know what I have to do first. I have to pull a Lemurian prophecy card. Okay, so, and come in with your questions if you want while I'm doing this. So I've got the Lemurian prophecy cards here in their beautiful little box. And these are the cards that I use for readings. They are. And so I'm going to shuffle 5 times. And you know why I'm shuffling 5 times, right? Those of you who have been here before, because 5 is the number for love. And I think that was 5. If not, it's 6, and that's mastery, and that's okay. Okay. Okay, so everybody that's on the call here live, put your energy into the cards, and I'll wait. Whoa, okay, and then we're gonna cut the cards. And the card that comes up is the 3 of clubs. Now the 3, do we have any 3s, life path 3s in the call today? This is a number that represents truth, trust, and oh, I know, Sandra is a 3, aren't you? Yeah, this one's for you, Sandra, for sure. This one's for you. Okay, and the 3 suit, there are 4 suits, right? The diamonds are the physical, the hearts are the emotional body, the spades are the spiritual body, and the clubs are the mental body. Okay, so this is about the mental body and about the truth, trust, and passion, which are the first 3 principles of the 10 principles of consciously creating, which you can read about on my website. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And within the Trinity is always found love. So this Trinity, if you have one of those out of balance, like if your truth is not fully present, that's like a 3-legged stool that's going to wobble. So if your trust, and that's often where I got the wobble, is the trust. I might have the truth, but boy, I got to work on the trust. And then the passion. So if you have your truth and your trust in alignment, the passion can come through for whatever it is you're doing. So in this one, we're talking about our thoughts and keeping our thoughts in truth, trust, and passion, which is really important if we're in this completion month. So what do we think about things in our lives that we might need to let go of right now? And, that can be anything. I'll just set that over here, and we know that was for Sandra. Completions and new beginnings. I used to head up the publishing company for Kahu Fred and Master Guide Kirill. Well, okay, I was in a team. I didn't head it up. Okay, and we together made these books, all of these books from Kahu Fred Sterling, and we were called Lightways Publishing. Now, putting those books together, each one was a different journey. And some of them were made from editing transcripts. Some were done from groups that got together to talk to Master Kirill and create the books. And then they got edited afterwards, but we did the editing. And so when we did the editing, it's always, if you've done any editing or any, double checking of somebody's work, it's very challenging to know when it's done, when it's complete. And so we often asked ourselves, is this book complete? Is this book complete? And so I'll show you one book here that we had a challenge with, and that's this one, the Lemurian Legacy book. This is just a little postcard, but we were challenged by this one because it's probably for me, the most impactful book that we did. And many times we would go back and say, okay, we could edit that. And it's really tough editing a 7th dimensional being's words because there are so many levels of truth to those words. And this is the same thing I go through with Pele-kino, aha-nei. Her words come through me, but when I put them in writing, what do I edit? What do I change so it's understandable? So it's any editor's journey, right? So we asked Master Kirill, how will we know when these books are done? How would we know when this one, especially this one, how do we know when it's done? And he said, you'll take it and you'll hold it to your heart and you'll know, you'll feel it, you'll know. And of course he says, when you know, but what does that really mean? It means that you have to know yourself, okay, this is complete. This is complete. And if you hear something like, like I heard check page 7, something like that. You forgot this, and we did go back and it was on page 7. So, I mean, it can be with anything. It can be with a relationship. Take the person's picture and hold it to your heart and say, is this complete? Am I complete here? And if you listen carefully and you hear anything, and don't ignore it, you might hear something like, no, you need to go back and you need to do this. Then that too, because when you know, and you go back and take care of it, put more love into it, define, what this relationship means to you. What did this project mean to you? Go back and then do it again. And that's what we did. We came back and we did it again. We held the manuscript to our hearts before we sent it off to the printer, held it to our hearts. And we all, the 3 of us that were involved, said, we know it's complete. And at that point, you let it go. And if it's like a book that's being printed, you can't call it back past a certain point. When it's on the machines, you don't call it back anymore. You maybe do a new edition later, but that's it. That project is complete. And so it becomes a little more challenging when it's a person or something that you've been doing repeatedly and repeatedly. Like, I don't know, you want to give up coffee, for example, or you want to give up a certain thing that you're eating. Be gentle with yourself too, because if you go back and you have that food, or you drink that coffee again, you're not complete, and you have it again. Be nice to yourself. Or maybe you delve back into that situation again. You obviously weren't complete, and you're back there, and that's a perfect thing. So we have to accept where we are in the very moment we find ourselves as perfect. And if we want to change it, we can change it, but we have to be where we are right now and accept it as perfect. Otherwise, we'd be in judgment of ourselves, right? And that wouldn't be nice. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? I feel that this is an exciting month, and sometimes things come up that are really unexpected. Like, you look at something and you think, man, do I have to do that? Am I back there again? Maybe I just let it go now. I felt that way a number of times. So there's a question. So I've answered one question about, how do you tell when something is complete? And sometimes you don't even know you're in that situation where you're asking yourself, is this complete? Let's just say you're in a relationship and all of a sudden that person leaves. Well, that's a completion, isn't it? And it's up to you not to go run after that person. Let them go, because perhaps you're done. And ask yourself, is it complete? And then you'll know that it's not something that you have to prop up or go back to, that you can move on, that you can go on. So Donna says, talk about the letting go process, please. And how do we go about that? Well, part of it is, I think meditation will always play a role in that, Donna. And this is where it really happens, because I don't think you can get into your blueprint, which a lot of these things are coming from your blueprint. There's things that you put in your blueprint, your life blueprint for this lifetime, to complete and to experience and to do. And some of them are with other people or their projects or things like that. I think it's very difficult to get into your blueprint in a third dimensional mind space. I like to go into meditation to do that. And you can even, if you have, your blueprint is held in the signature cell in the pineal gland. And that's why they call it signature cell healing, because we're accessing the signature cell in the pineal gland with the life blueprint, activating that with love and light. And that cell talks to every other cell, the 70 trillion cells in your physical body, which hold the consciousness, the weave of consciousness that you came into this lifetime. And it also has other lifetimes too, to work with and to heal and to grow and to feel more love. So when you breathe like we did, you're doing that. You're activating the signature cell with the blueprint. It's coming into your heart. Your heart is feeling that. So to answer your question, I would say that you need to get into meditation and look at the situation from a higher perspective. So come into your heart, and however you get into meditation, I like to get into meditation with the Fibrous self-healing meditation and a prayer to state my intention, because a prayer is not a religious thing for me. It's a statement of my intention of why I'm there in meditation or why I'm there in a ceremony or anywhere. It states my intention so that the unseen forces of light know why I'm there. And then I breathe and I go into this safe space that we learn about in the Signature Cell Healing website, workshops. And I access the guidance. So the guidance can come in various ways. Now, you don't have to go into that, but maybe you have a safe space in your meditation that you can go into where you can meet with your guidance, your higher self, your child self, any of the energies that you identify with that are guiding you, and ask, what can you tell me about this situation? Is it complete? I mean, ask the question, is it complete? Is there something left for me to do here? And listen, just stop everything and just breathe and listen. And you're going to hear it, believe it or not, in your heart, because your heart has so much more power than your brain. Your heart, the neurons in your heart are 5,000 times, they've figured this out in the Institute for Heart Math, right? That the neurons in the heart are 5,000 times more powerful than the neurons in your brain. So it's really your heart that's in charge, but we don't know that in the third dimension. We've said the brain is so important, right? So if you can get into your heart and listen, learn to listen to your heart. If you're not already doing that, listen to your heart and feel the answer. And be really honest with yourself. And if you hear something like, no, it's not complete, then ask, how, what do I still need to do? And allow yourself to be guided. And even if you don't hear the answer, you will be guided after that to the steps you need to take. What I like to do after meditation is automatic writing. So I always have a notebook and a pen. And after meditation, I will ask a question or write something myself, and then write down what I hear as the answer. Now, it doesn't have to be fancy. It could be a couple of words or a sentence or just a few ideas, or maybe like some of my clients, they like to draw pictures. So maybe you draw a picture about what you saw in meditation or what the guidance is trying to tell you. It just depends on what you feel comfortable doing. But automatic writing or automatic drawing, I mean, that is a wonderful tool to discover what your next steps are, Donna. And I hope that gives you some tools that you can use to do that. Donna, are you doing a meditation practice now? You can just put it in the chat if you like. Anyway, oh yes, daily, very good, daily. Up that to 2 times, daily 2 times. The more you can expand it, the better it is. And I'm not saying that that's not good what you're doing. What you're doing is excellent. And there's so many people that are not even doing it daily. So do it daily, 2 times a day, and as needed, because these times really need it. So, maybe turn off the TV or turn off the radio and breathe. That's what I like to do. Okay, Donna, thank you so much for your question. Aldine has asked, what the celestial energies are for this month. And there are some, right now, some very, very beautiful energies. If you have a view to the western sky at sunset, just wait after sunset and look for Venus together with the goddess star Spica. I think they've moved a little bit past each other now, but Venus is the brightest object in our sky besides the moon and the sun. So Venus is always very easy to spot. It just depends on where she is in her cycle. So right now she's an evening star, and she's coming every time she's together with the moon. We call that a gate in the story of Inanna, and that's also on my website. You can read about the journey of Venus through the 8 gates, going down into the underworld. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful expression of the cycle of Venus. So that's one thing that we can see in our skies. There's also, I love to follow, my big thing now is following the Hawaiian lunar month. And there's so much that we can learn from the phases of the moon, because as goddesses, we're really in tune with the moon, wouldn't you say, Mahina Ku, whose name means moon upright and one of the nights of the moon. I think it's really cool. Yeah. So we are in a time of these great conjunctions of the larger planets, like, for example, Pluto in Capricorn, which also means the evolution of our government systems, our organization of life on Earth. It also dredges up things that need to be looked at, which I think everybody can identify with right now. And Saturn and Jupiter now moving into Aquarius, which gives us the higher wisdom and the vision for what can be. So Saturn is the planet that organizes us and manages our life in the 3rd dimensional world. It's a very 3rd dimensional planet in terms of the wisdom of organizing things to be productive and to be nurturing for all people. And then Jupiter is the expander, and together in Aquarius, they start to expand this new organizational energy. And I think because of the things that are happening, like, the Pluto in Capricorn is exposing a lot of things, like, for example, Donna's in Tennessee, in the area south of you, experienced another huge, to me, an exposure of the systems that are not in place to keep people safe. And we could say, yes, it is climate change and those kind of things, but we have to change now. We have to make changes that will help people stay safe. And I look at other parts of the world, especially I'm oriented very much towards Europe, and what are the systems that they're putting in place to protect people, medical systems, healthcare systems, things like that. And I think that in America, we're coming in on the American chart, just really quickly, America is coming up on its Pluto return. So where Pluto was on the 4th of July, 1776, Pluto is coming around for its return now. Isn't that amazing? And so a lot of things are being exposed for us to make our country better. And it's just a great time. I mean, it's a time that we can celebrate, because we have an opportunity to let go of things and have new beginnings and to do things differently. Okay, so thank you so much, Mahina Ku, for your question about that. And if you're interested in what's going on in your personal Lemurian astrology, I do those readings. And the specials, the summer specials, the discounts are ending on the 6th of September. So there's a completion, and there will be a new beginning. But the completion of those specials is September 6th. So if you want the discount you can go to, and that's on all the readings and the signature cell healing sessions. And I do distance healing sessions. So you can go there and sign up for that. There's also, I'm going to go through some of the things to know. Tomorrow, I hope you can join me for the Healing Sunday at the Honolulu Church of Light. And if you want more information about that, you can go to the Signature Cell Healing Facebook page or kirael.com. That's KIRAEL.com. And there's where the login link is. A free webinar, and people join us from all around the world. And Kahu Fred will be giving a message, and I'll be teaching the Fibrous self-healing meditation briefly. I hope you can join us. It's at 9 a.m. Hawaii time. And the recordings are also there on Kahu's YouTube. This recording will also be on my YouTube. So sign up and for subscription there if you're not able to get here every month. I also have a newsletter sign up. Oh, check out my new website. It's really beautiful. And I want to thank Annie Sweet of Austin, Texas for designing that. She just put her whole heart into it, and it's so different. I'm still getting used to it. It's so different. And I look at it, I'm going, God, it's so beautiful. I deserve this website. I deserve a website I didn't have to whittle together myself. Yay. So yes, and please be looking for the new Signature Cell Healing website, which is up now. And you can kind of beta test it with us as we go through. It's such a massive website. Please check it out, and you'll enjoy all of the products that are in the online store. Some of very MP3s, 100 MP3s and print books, ebooks, videos, everything. I hope you enjoy that. I also invite you to join me on September 17th for the next Global Healing Meditation for Mother Earth. And that is something we do every night, 3 nights before the full moon. And you can do it wherever you are at 9 p.m. your local time. And we send our light, our energies to Diamond Head, create a collective weave, and do a healing for Mother Earth and everybody on the planet. And so I have a Facebook message that goes out, or you can just check my website. Thank you all very much for joining me. Our next Healing Moments is on the October 2nd, first Saturday. And I wish you a very good month of completions and new beginnings. I can't wait to hear from you. Please email me at KarinnaNielsen.com for how your month is going this month. We'll share again next month about our completions and what our new beginnings will be. Yes? Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording and wish everybody aloha and a great month.